Good evening, everyone. It is an honor to be here. It's thrilling for me to be in the presence of so much living history. And I have to recognize Abel Gordley and Mrs. Bradford and Charlotte especially, because I've been following you all for a long time. And you've taught me so much. And just thank you for the gift of that learning. My remarks are entitled, What's in a Name? From the first time I really sat down and talked with Charlotte Rutherford about a year and a half now, she was always clear that this gift, that this collection, was made possible by her mother and was to be gifted for her mother, to honor her mother Verdel's wishes. So initially, as we hatched this project, the collection was going to be named for Verdel Rutherford. My earliest project notes say Verdel Rutherford Collection. Then a couple of things happened that unsettled this title. One thing was that it took a long time to really identify all the boxes and get them out of the house. I think I made at least 3 trips to the house, to Charlotte's current house, over a number of months, starting in December of last year, and Chris may have made another couple. So this is what it looks like. This is me taking a picture of Charlotte, Chris, and my good friend Carmen Thompson, who's also a PSU alum and now is a historian in her own right of African American history. And Charlotte's got her I Love Harlem t-shirt, and the card she's holding, this is taken on my cell phone, okay? It's just off the cuff. The card is the memorial card from Verdel's memorial service. And that's the clothesline in the basement. And that's the first box. That's the picture of the first box that came out of the basement. So tonight we say gift, but it should be gifts. Or it should be a verb, gifting. Because practically the gifting of this collection meant activity, ongoing activity, rummaging, searching, peeking into boxes, remembering, talking to people, wondering, more rummaging, more phone calls, searching in different places over a period of months, really in a year. Then some other things started happening. People were drawn in right away. Abel enabled so much of that through her broad community connections, her media connections, OPB, her service at OHS. People started coming to Charlotte, bringing her things, bringing her questions. I know I brought her many questions. Then people started asking Charlotte to talk, like at the Historical Society at the Remembering Marco Hatfield lecture last spring. Then I asked her to help me do some teaching here on campus with PSU students and also with high school students. And Abel and Charlotte have shared their time very generously. So here's us meeting downstairs where you had the reception, and we're sitting with Lincoln High School students and Portland State undergraduates, and here's Charlotte, and they've got all the documents out on the table, and we couldn't wait. We couldn't wait to get to know the stories in this collection. And so then people started bringing things. We had an event last spring, a preview event, and Rutherford family members, Bill Rutherford and his wife came, and more things. So we'd get envelopes. People came and brought pictures, photo albums, artifacts. They brought memories. They brought questions. They brought ideas about what this collection was and all that it encompassed. And so as Charlotte continued her rummaging and remembering and talking and answering of questions, she, in effect, allowed people to come close to her and her family's legacy. And it became a conversation with many parties. So in doing this, her sense of what she had grew and developed and changed. And so the name had to change, and change it did. The first set of changes were around including Otto's name, so we're in the right space together. I knew we would be. Another document I have in my file says Otto and Verdel Rutherford Collection, so we're morphing here. But you might be thinking out there, well, Patricia, of course, but I want to ask you to think again, because as Charlotte rummaged and searched, the PSU students also started their work of processing the collection here on campus. This meant essentially touching just about every piece of paper in the collection at least one time and making a judgment about it. Now, because historians did this processing and not professional archivists, they read. You're not supposed to read the archive. You can't see the other picture. Chris would be like, don't. Carmen and I, we're the historians, like, oh my God, we're digging. Chris, don't stop reading. Get busy. You're not supposed to read the archive when you're processing it, but the students and I, read we did. And what emerged in that process of reading was a very intimate circle of discovery and conversation, and of course more reading. No one else has read what we have had, and only we did it together. This will never happen again. And we found so many things, so many stories, and so the questions began to change. The questions moved. It moved from what is in here to what's missing and what else is there. These two questions, what's here and what's missing, what can we see, what can't we see, were kind of a dialogue, a call and response, if you will. The biggest puzzle to us has already been referred to earlier by Charlotte, that is, this was Verdel's archive, but really, where was she? Where's her voice? We have the letters, hundreds and hundreds of letters. But where is her voice? We have the letters she received, really not many of the ones she sent. They're out in the world somewhere. Verdel's fingerprints were everywhere, but her voice less so. Her voice was fragmentary. She labeled things, but a fuller presence was hard to find, even in pictures. Not so with Otto. Verdel preserved his activities and his image very well indeed. For example, his 3 decades spent in fraternal orders and is among the best preserved and most detailed part of this collection. Students were very compelled by his many activities, and it was hard not to be dazzled by the stylish photographs of him with leading figures like Thurgood Marshall, or him decked out in the regalia of the Elks, or in the striking theatrical costumes that he wore in local performances around town. And then a quiet part of our conversations in the archives was about Verdel's also quiet commentary about the arrangements in the household that facilitated the family's work individually and collectively. Otto could move into the public sphere in part because of Verdel's commitment to working in the home, to doing both family-related unpaid work and paid professional work. She actually did medical transcription, which I did too. I worked my way through college doing medical transcription. Verdel did it at home in the summers on her own equipment. Dr. Unthank would drop off the documents and the materials, and away she'd go. And she also did her volunteer work and her political work at home. So the bookkeeping, the correspondence, the calendaring, the media, the publicity, all undertaken by her was essential to the success of the family in every regard, both its public impact and the thriving, making the thriving space where people grew and stretched and developed into who they became. And I got to mention the cookbooks. Women in this family wrote their own cookbooks, did their own cooking, and there's a wonderful food history in this archive, which, is a very hip topic right now. So we're right on time, Charlotte. So in some ways, the final name, Verdel A. Burdine and Otto G. Rutherford Family Collection, represents this partnership piece. The marriage that was the beating heart and lifeblood of the family and all that its members did and strove for. By representing her mother Verdel as Verdel A. Burdine, Charlotte carved out a space for her mother's independence beyond that equally treasured title, Mrs. Rutherford. So there's that dialogue again. There's Verdel A. Burdine and Mrs. Otto Rutherford. The name Burdine acknowledges the legacy of the maternal relatives and their distinct journey west to Portland. And I love how Charlotte included the middle initials of each of her parents. I just love that little balance. It's like a little teeter-totter. It's like a little mystery in the middle of their name. By calling this a family collection instead of just papers, the multi-generational quality that John addressed so eloquently is highlighted and points us to the other families who bequeathed their precious materials to Verdel for safekeeping. In this expansion, it is this expansive notion of family within African American cultural traditions. That is blood kin, adoptive kin, fictive kin, sisterhood, brotherhood in religious faith, diasporic kinship touching Africa, sister friends and soul brothers that have drawn so many people close to Charlotte's parents over the decades and to Charlotte to this day. For the honor of being drawn a little closer to this amazing family, I thank you, Charlotte, truly and deeply. What I've described to you is really a transformational intellectual and social experience for my students and me. This collection will potentially transform knowledge in many areas: Pacific Northwest history, civil rights history, urban history, cultural history, women's history. Journalists, students, filmmakers, artists, they already found it. They've already been in there. Many people will seek out the riches of this collection, and their work and their lives will be changed by what they find. But don't take my word for it. I want you to listen to the students who've been there and put it in their own words.